Paul Tassi wrote an article over at Forbes titled, "How Can We Trust Anything Xbox Says Now?" And I just wanted to echo that sentiment. I do think that Microsoft Gaming, remember, it's not Xbox, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Microsoft Gaming, and more specifically, Phil Spencer, now needs to figure out how the Xbox branch of Microsoft is going to be able to tell the community anything. Because to me, it seems like the entire leadership team is not really in charge whatsoever. So, just taking a quick look at Paul Tassi's article, he outlines a few key moments. He talks about Hi-Fi Rush, the FTC trial, some statements made. And the most recent one was this report about the MMO we talked about yesterday. Now, in this latest story, reports have emerged that Phil Spencer couldn't stop playing a new MMORPG codenamed Blackbird from ZeniMax Elder Scrolls Online team. I was incredibly impressed with it. He was incredibly impressed with it. They said he couldn't put it down. That was in March, and 3 months later, Blackbird was canceled this past week. How do you go into a studio, play a game, be unable to put it down, and then decide to shutter the whole studio? I think some of them make sense. Perfect Dark being shut down kind of makes sense if you actually have been following this story. Everwild does also, but that doesn't change the words that Phil Spencer said leading up to these situations. Report: Everwild restarted from scratch. We're now aiming for 2024. This was reported back in 2021 over on Polygon by Samet. Xbox fans wondering why Rare's Everwild didn't show up at Sunday's E3 showcase? We have an answer. The studio has completely rebooted the open world adventure game under a new creative director, and its release is multiple years away, reports VGC. Everwild is making good progress, confirms Phil Spencer. This was in February of 2025. That's 6 months ago. Almost 6 months ago, just shy of 6 months. He said during the Xbox Era podcast that Rare's Everwild game, in an appearance on the Xbox Era podcast, he said that he named it among the most anticipated games among those that have been announced, alongside State of Decay 3 and the next project from Double Fine. I'll go back to what I said earlier. State of Decay is just one of the franchises I love back from the original one, so that one stays on the board. I do think the work that Double Fine is doing and how Tim Schafer kind of solicits feedback from the team is great. And the other one I'll say, because I was recently out at Rare, it's nice to see the team with Everwild and the progress that they're making. Okay, so you went out and played the game recently around February. You told that team that the game's doing great. You told the Blackbird team that the game is looking great. And the Bloomberg report states that the feedback was nothing but positive from leadership. They even took members from other teams and put them on Project Blackbird. And then you just unceremoniously pull the plug on it. So 6 months later with Everwild, Everwild has been canceled as Xbox layoffs hit Rare. That's from VGC. It's just crazy to think that you would go out to the studios, tell them everything's going great, and then have to shut them down. And that leads me to believe that Microsoft is in charge and Xbox doesn't have a lot of say in what gets to stay and what gets to go. You know what else is crazy? Almost half of you are not subscribed. So hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know my content goes live. Thank you so much for watching. So, Perfect Dark, if you've been following it, we have known that studio is in a tumultuous state for a very long time. Insiders describe Fast and Furious exits from Xbox's Perfect Dark studio. As much as half of the core development team have quit in the past year. This is reported in 2022 by Andy Robinson. And I kept talking about this story, and people didn't like it. Look at all these names crossed off. If you go watch their original announcement video about that studio, almost everybody in that original announcement video was gone when I was doing my stories about Perfect Dark and why I was worried about its development. This is from 2023. Report Perfect Dark still in pre-production, still years from launch. Reboot first announced in 2020 has been beset B management issues. I don't know that. I think that's a typo. Talent turnover at the initiative, says devs. So there's been a ton of issues with it. Then again, Phil Spencer in 2021, remember, he said, Phil Spencer says Perfect Dark's Joanna Dark offers a lot of modern opportunities for Xbox's lineup. Obviously, Gallagher had a great track record at Crystal Dynamics and the work he had done with Warcraft and the reimagining of Tomb Raider. So when we were looking at different opportunities, one that we brought up was Joanna and Perfect Dark. And it was something that he was excited about in the end. Well, you just unceremoniously canceled the project. And it's not like this came out all that long ago. They went to great lengths to actually put together this trailer. Released 1 year ago. It came out in June 9th. Almost 1 year to the date. It has been shut down. And there's been a lot of debate as to whether or not that trailer was real or if it was manufactured. Adam McDonald, who had worked on it and left the company prior to all this happening, the demo, it is actually in engine. I was one of 3 level designers that worked on it. It worked best if you played it the way the person playing in the video plays it, but it still worked even if you didn't hit the marks perfectly. So that was a work. There were moments of that trailer. Some of it was CG, he admits. Some of it was gameplay. But it was a real thing. So they were actually seeing positive momentum, and then it shut down. And if you'll remember, we have an image of Phil Spencer playing the game. Let's just bring up the image really quick because everybody's been tweeting about it today. It's like, what was he playing? Was this image of Phil Spencer playing Perfect Dark just for PR to make Xbox look good at the time? This is him going to the studio playing something at the studio. And that's when it was like in turmoil. And then there's the whole 4 games thing. Phil Spencer, Xbox confirms 4 exclusive games will be coming to other platforms. So Phil Spencer, CEO of Microsoft Gaming, confirmed today what I think we already knew, that 4 games will be coming to other platforms in this video. So we made the decision that we are going to take 4 games to the other consoles, just 4 games, not a change to our fundamental exclusive strategy. We're making this decision for specific reasons. Yeah, the specific reasons is that you're putting everything on other platforms. And they did say something along the lines of, we're just going to test the waters, see how this goes. We want to see how people react to it. Well, people loved it because people like the games. People like the games whether they want to admit it or not that Xbox makes. They're the top selling games on PlayStation most often. The moment for me was when Indiana Jones and the Great Circle was no longer a console exclusive. This was announced during, I want to say, the Game Awards. And for me, I'm like, oh yeah, it's done. This isn't the Xbox we knew. And then Aaron Greenberg talking about the Hi-Fi Rush situation. Aaron Greenberg, Hi-Fi Rush was a breakout hit for us and our players in all key measurements and expectations. We couldn't be happier with what the team at Tango Gameworks delivered with this release. Microsoft says it needs games like Hi-Fi Rush the day after killing the studio. I don't even know what to say anymore. Like, what do you say? And all of this, Ryan wrote a great piece, Ryan over at IGN. New column for me on IGN. It's called Perfect Dark and the Battle for Xbox's Soul. I talked to 2 longtime Xbox employees, included their thoughts in this, as well as my own, in trying to parse through this crazy week. I hope you'll give it a look. And one of the lines in there is, it's no longer Xbox, but Microsoft Gaming. It just feels weird. And everyone's like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. No, it's a very substantial deal. Where are my Microsoft Gaming fans at? I said. It was very, very clear in 2024 that there had been a shift at Microsoft. So going back to Paul's original article, he says, you may notice a pattern here that Xbox and head Phil Spencer is cited in almost all of these. There's a three-sided debate about whether Spencer was A, not telling the truth on purpose, B, believing what he said at the time, but circumstances changed quickly, or C, there is just an immense amount of pressure on Spencer and Xbox from Microsoft. These cuts, including the Xbox ones, are said to be saving cash to funnel into Microsoft's AI ambitions. They've spent $80 billion on this AI initiative. Where no, I cannot imagine Spencer wants that. There is, of course, still a question of, given how things have gone, whether Spencer is still the best choice to lead this ship. What a couple of years it's been for Xbox. What a couple of generations even. I don't think they'll replace Phil Spencer because I don't think Phil Spencer has a lot of say in what happens. So why change leadership? You're just going to put somebody else in there that's just going to do your bidding anyway. They're not going to be able to do anything if Microsoft chooses to spend $80 billion on an initiative, or Satya Nadella wants to bet on Game Pass and tie his bonuses to how well Game Pass is doing. Like, I don't think they replace Phil Spencer. Maybe Phil Spencer will want to retire in the next couple of years, but time will tell. But I'll tell you this. I will, now that I've seen how all of this is played out, when I see several reports about tumultuous development at the Perfect Dark studio and they release a shiny, cool looking trailer, I'd be like, yeah, okay. I'll believe it when I see it. And I think that's how anybody who plays Xbox games or is interested in Xbox games, I think they're all going to be saying, okay, new hardware, huh? Well, I'll believe that when I see it at this point. The handheld looks cool. We know that's coming, the partnership. But that new console, what's that going to look like? They've told us a lot of things, and now we know in a short of 6 months, in a time frame of 6 months, they went from saying Everwild's looking great to closing the game. They played Blackbird, and all leadership gave positive feedback, not just Phil. Phil said the claims are he couldn't put it down. Like, was he faking not being able to put it down? Like, oh yeah, take it away from me. Like, was he hamming it up? Because if it was really that good, you're shutting down an opportunity from one of your most profitable studios. It's Bethesda. They do ESO. ESO is making a lot of money, it sounds like. Why not throw your hat in the ring with another launch? Like, how far away would it have been? I believe the target year was 2028. I don't even really know what to say anymore. But I know half of you aren't subscribed, so hit that subscribe button. I don't really know how to outro the segue. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know when my content goes live. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to the members, Chris Ferretti, Phil Aroni, Spingetter, and Aries EMS. I do greatly appreciate you, as well as everybody who backs at all tiers. Thank you kindly. You can support at patreon.com/SafeStatePlus or by clicking the join button. Let me know what you think about the jacket over the t-shirt. I just wanted to look a little bit nicer. I don't know if it works or not. Thanks for watching, everybody. Check out this video about what happened with Perfect Dark and the Matt Booty email, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now.